This short how-to video is one in a series developed for executives and product companies where exploring or building service capabilities is a business priority.
Our topic in this video is how to turn your box pushers into sellers of the invisible. I've written extensively on the major challenges of this transition and all aspects that need to be addressed. For today, I will just focus on the 5 most important things that senior management must do. Step 1. Remove excuses. Most salespeople weaned on selling products say that selling services lengthens the selling cycle, thus jeopardizing their 30 and 90-day numbers. My response? Baloney. Top sellers understand that services are a vital part of the customer's value proposition and need to be sold with the product at the time of the product sale. Furthermore, when selling complex solutions, selling some services up front, for example, an assessment or an audit, can actually compress the overall solution selling cycle. Sometimes we hear the excuse, well, it raises the overall price, thus making the deal more susceptible to competitors. Well, the response to this is true and false. Of course, the overall dollar amount increases when more offerings are provided. However, properly done, the value potential of a true solution increases dramatically. As your organizations perform services, credibility and trust rise, lowering the possibilities of competitive inroads. The next pushback. Well, it lowers their income potential because compared to the price of products, services are small change. The response to that? Really false. When your selling arsenal only includes products, you are quickly viewed as a commodity seller, where price becomes the customer's hammer and you become the nail. Your percentage of wins go down, and you are totally susceptible to competitors who know how to sell services and how to sell solutions. When you sell solutions, both your deal size and your win rate increases. And the last pushback, although it's rarely stated aloud, is that many product salespeople feel that selling services challenges their abilities, as it is much different than selling products and actually a little scary. This is true. Selling services and solutions effectively is different, more difficult, and initially frustrating to those used to transaction selling. Now, whether product sellers actually believe these points or just use them as company acceptable excuses, they must be addressed head on. So find the figures that demonstrate that services can be sold. Use respected companies that successfully sell lots of services as proof, and compare your results with what your competitors have done. Then you can present research showing that customers value services, want to buy them, and will pay for them. This information is readily available, so use it. What's the second step? Align the performance system with the strategy. Start with the new job description for your sellers. First, make it crystal clear that selling services is now an important focus of the company and an important required responsibility of the sales force. These expectations should be translated into quantifiable service sales goal, how much, what type, when, and should be in place and outlined in all sellers' quotas and in their performance plan. You also need appropriate consequences. First, add a carrot. Link the achievement of services targets to lucrative incentives. In addition, tack on some highly visible bonuses, maybe a 5-day cruise for 2, twin Harleys, country club memberships, whatever gets their interest, to generate some excitement when your box sellers make good services sales. Your best sellers like to compete amongst themselves, and this is a highly visible way to do it. Now, add a stick puts negative consequences in place if service selling goals are not met. For example, no services quota, no trip to the Bahamas. For the services slackers, no product bonuses if service sales goals are not achieved. Punishment is a strong word, but it's necessary nonetheless. If your top product sellers do poorly at selling services, put them on product probation. Let them know that job security requires services sales maturity. You will be sending a strong signal. Now, most executives will set services targets and provide solid incentives. Then they expect or hope or maybe demand that selling behavior changes. It will not. The gap is too large. The change is too scary. Without meaningful ramifications for not selling services, you are wasting your time. The result will be dismal increase in service sales and a year of frustration for management. Okay, let's say you've made those changes and now your product sellers are willing. They must also be able. So step 3 is now we need to train them. Lou Gerstner was the CEO of IBM that led their huge transition to services. Later, when asked what he would have done differently, he said he would have put much more effort into training the sales force. My advice is to ignore generic and invest in quality, services-specific sales training tailored to the issues and uniqueness of your specific situations. Step 4, reinforce, reinforce, reinforce. Publish service sales results weekly. Make heroes of the early adopters. Constantly run contests. Start every sales meeting with service. It needs to be top of mind and your top focus. But finally, step 5, we need to realize the reality. Even if you follow all the advice exactly as I outlined, and I hope you do, about 1 in 3 product salespeople will not be successful in selling services. Now, hey, it's not their fault. You hired them to sell boxes. You should understand this from the beginning and be prepared to keep them as product specialists or help them find new jobs inside or outside the company. The important thing to remember here is to do all of these steps or don't do them at all.
For a deeper dive into this subject, read Alex's book, Seriously Selling Services, or contact him directly.